So if you're a giant man-child such as myself who enjoys Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you've been eating very well this year. We of course got the stellar Shredder's Revenge, which I played on Game Pass. I bought it on the Switch and reviewed it on the Switch. I bought the stupid collector's edition for the Nintendo Switch from Limited Run Games because I have problems, and it was one of my favorite games of 2022. But there was another Turtles game that I was really looking forward to. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection, a compilation of various Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games that we all grew up playing, if you're an old person like myself, put into one tidy package with 13 games and bonus features. I ended up getting an early review copy of this game for the Nintendo Switch, and we're going to talk about this game today because, I mean, it's pretty damn awesome. Let's just be real about it. So Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga Collection, has a plethora of stuff going on with it, and I'll show you guys what all is involved. We have the games that are, of course, I mean, the reason you're here. There's online play for select games. There's local play for games, the Turtles layer, and then the options. Now, I love the presentation. I love this main image here. Everything looks like it should from the classic Ninja Turtles era. But before we get into the games themselves, I want to show you guys the Turtles layer because this is something that you've seen in a lot of compilation games where it's sort of like, you know, a museum of classic stuff. Maybe you'll get a box art, an instruction booklet, this, that, and the other, maybe some concept art from various retro video games. We saw this with things like the Mega Man collection, but this honestly brings it to a whole new level. This is absurd, the amount of cool stuff that is in here. Of course, you have things like game boxes and game manuals, so you can check those out, which, I mean, that's classic stuff here because, you know, you probably don't have your boxes. You have variants for the Japanese regions as well. So I think that's super cool. Just fun stuff that you can look at in order to sort of relive eras that you were from. Same thing with the games manuals. You have a variety of games manuals here, but then things start getting crazy. You have magazine advertisements, like for all of these games, like classic things that you remember seeing growing up if you grew up during that time frame. You have catalogs and media kit stuff, which some of this stuff we never even saw it because this was obviously for the press and of course business related things. So now we get the comic books. You can get artwork from the comic books and see the different, you know, the variants of the covers of the comics books and stuff like that. It's like, what? Various comic books as well from various eras too? Like, so much cool stuff. You want stills from the animated show? Oh, we got those too. Like, holy crap on a stick. These guys went above and beyond with the amount of stuff here. Stuff that you've never seen any of this before because, of course, this was not made available for the public. Just so much cool stuff. Individual concept art, designs, enemy designs from each individual game. Like, wow. And then, of course, you have the music. You have a strategy guide made for these games, specifically for these games, for the games that you're going to be playing on this compilation. Just above and beyond. This is unprecedented, the amount of stuff that they have put into this game in order to make it like a celebration of all of the previous Ninja Turtle games that we grew up playing. When I saw this, I was absolutely blown away. I still haven't looked at everything within this, but I think it's just so cool. Of course, you have various options that you could do for the game, and this might look kind of, you know, like, whoa, there's not a lot going on here, but once you get into the games themselves, that's where the options really shine. Of course, you have a variety of 13 different Ninja Turtle games. Some people might not like the comic book style of this. I like it. I think it's nice, but you have the original Ninja Turtles on the NES, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, the Manhattan Project, all for the NES, along with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters for the NES as well, which is actually an underrated game. Then you have the Game Boy stuff with Game Boy, Fall of the Foot Clan, Back from the Sewers, and Radical Rescue. These three games I'd actually never played before, so I thought that was pretty cool if they were included in here. Of course, you have the classic Ninja Turtles arcade game. You have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Turtles in Time, the arcade game. You have Turtles in Time, the Super Nintendo version. You have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters for the Super Nintendo. You have Hyperstone Heist for the Genesis, and you have Tournament Fighters for the Genesis as well. So you're getting a lot of games here. You're getting a lot of games, a lot of classic games. I'm sure your nostalgia will vary from one game to another as far as what you remember playing, but I like all of this stuff. But here's where the game really shines. If you look in the bottom here, you can see an enhancements thing. You hit the minus button on the Switch, And now you have a whole new world of options. You can remove slowdown and remove sprite flicker from the original NES game, which is huge because that game was damn near unplayable at times because of all the sprite flicker and the slowdown. Each game has their own various options where you can do things like have extra lives, fancy jump kicks, God mode so that you can defeat enemies in a single hit, do things like remove sprite flicker and whatnot. And I think that's just so cool how each individual game has its own stuff. Clash of the Hotheads, which allows you to do a different thing that was a hothead versus hothead battle in the first Tournament Fighters game for the NES. Fall of the Foot Clan, you have bonus game stuff that you can do in there as well. Infinite lives should you need to do that. Even the arcade games have stuff that you can do. And like, this is just so cool to me. It's so cool to me. You can have the playable bosses in the Tournament Fighters games as well. Just so awesome. And I haven't even gotten into the games themselves yet, but I do want to talk about one thing before we get into the games themselves, and that has to do with the online games. Now, this to me, your preference is going to change from person to person. There's no right or wrong answer with this, but these are the games that you can play online on this collection, and I do feel like there's something missing. So we have the original Turtles arcade game, classic, awesome. You have Turtles in Time arcade, classic, awesome. You have Tournament Fighters Super Nintendo version, the superior version. I mean, Turtles Tournament Fighter is much better on the Super Nintendo than it is on the Genesis, and then you have Hyperstone Heist on the Genesis. So these are the 4 games that you can play online. And I feel like we're missing Turtles in Time Super Nintendo. I'm one of those people, and I know there's a lot of people out there who prefer the Super Nintendo version of Turtles in Time to the arcade version. Yes, this version looks better, I get that, but the Super Nintendo version has like so much more stuff to it, and I get it. They didn't want to have all Super Nintendo stuff. That's why they went with the Super Nintendo version of Tournament Fighters, because it is superior to the Sega Genesis, but you also have to throw the Sega Genesis a bone and have Hyperstone Heist. I don't know. For me personally, I would have loved to have seen Turtles in Time Super Nintendo be available to play online, but I get it. I understand it. I haven't had a chance to check out the online stuff because, well, there hasn't really been anyone playing, but I did notice that you can do things like have a frame delay so that there's less input lag with the games. I will be curious to see how that goes. I can't really talk about it all that much, obviously, because I haven't experienced it, but let's just finally get into the games here and how they play, because this is where things, truly shine. You really get a great feeling playing these games. So let's just boot up, the original Ninja Turtles here. Now, remember, I have frame rate slowdown removed, and I have sprite flicker removed. And this is like a completely different game. This is so much more playable than the original. And if you're a fan of the sprite flicker, you're a fan of the slowdown in the game because maybe it adds some strategy. I completely understand that. Like, you can put it back in. It's not a mandatory thing, but this just makes this game fun for me. And I understand that it has core issues anyways with things, of course, like, the water level and stuff, but this just makes it so that you actually want to play the game. It makes it so that you want to experience the games. As far as things like input lag are concerned, I've felt none. Like, here we go. I'm going to press a button, boom, and the guy dies. So I don't think input lag is a problem with this. I've played some of the more complex games, which we'll also showcase as well. Of course, this being a compilation thing, you could do things like adjust the screen size if you want a wide screen, original screen, or full screen. There's filters you could do, CRT, LCD, all that sort of fun stuff. I don't care for the borders as much though, and here's why. So when you're in the original mode, you can see everything fits nice, but when you go and you make the screen bigger, it doesn't adjust the filter to that. I wish they could have done that. Maybe that's something that they can do in a patch for the game, but there's just so many options. Like I said, the strategy guide stuff, this is so cool. Like, it shows you so much stuff to do, gives you hints and stuff like that. Like, I think that's just so awesome. The full maps and stuff, like, there's so much love put into this game. There's so much care put into all of these games. Let's take a look at something, a little bit more beefier. Like I said, I've played all these games now, even the Game Boy games, which I had some fun with. Do wish there were some potential color filters for the Game Boy games, as everything is in the monochrome, but at least it's in black and white instead of the ugly, frickin' other stuff that we got, the green, the pea green. Look at that, winners don't use drugs. Let's just hop into this right here, play a little Turtles in Time for the arcade. Of course, I have the arcade 1-up system that has Turtles in Time and the original Ninja Turtles game on there. But I mean, the games they play so well. Like, they play exactly how they're supposed to play. You jump, the character jumps. You hit the button, the character does his thing. Everything looks as it should. Everything sounds as it should. If you're very familiar with these games, I haven't experienced any sort of lag, input lag, or even in-game lag for stuff like that. Like, they really knocked it out of the park with this compilation. It just feels so good. And of course, when you're playing on the Nintendo Switch version, like I am, I've been playing this a ton in handheld mode. It looks absolutely stellar on my Nintendo Switch OLED. Just beautiful looking games, and they really pop on the OLED screen as well. But I'm very impressed with this compilation, you know, just beyond the games themselves, just beyond all the options that the games give you, such as the ability to remove slowdown in the NES games and stuff like that. They really went above and beyond with all the bonus stuff. They really went above and beyond with all these cool features that you can do that I don't think a lot of people necessarily expected. Like, it's just very impressive stuff. Here's a little Hyperstone Heist, which I think is a very criminally underrated game. So many people just assimilate it with Turtles in Time, and yeah, you know, it's essentially just Turtles in Time, but there are some differences in the game. You of course have that Sega Genesis soundtrack, which, you know, it kind of sounds a little bit farty at times, but that was just, you know, that's how it sounded. Like, that was what us Sega Genesis kids grew up loving. But I'm just thoroughly happy with this compilation. You know, I ended up ordering this stupid huge collector's edition, and I was worried. I was worried that, you know, well, maybe the game doesn't come out good, maybe this, that, and the other, and then do I regret my purchase of buying the stupid collector's edition? But I don't. Like, I'm so happy I bought the collector's edition, because we need to support stuff like this. Like, these reimagining, these sort of rebirths of the games that we grew up playing with, you know, modern features and modern touches. It's so important for video game preservation, because let's be real, like, when was the last time we saw all these Turtle games on a compilation? When have we ever gotten a Turtles compilation? You never do. So I love these compilations. As much as I hate Konami for not doing anything besides pachinko machines anymore, I love when they give a company like Digital Eclipse these compilations in order for us to play the games that we grew up playing, the games that we love to play, and the games that we have fond memories of. So yeah, you're really not going to find many complaints from me on this. Like, I love what they did with this. Everything looks great. Everything feels great. All of the bonus stuff, especially if you're a Ninja Turtles fan, it's just so awesome to see. And, you know, it's fun. Yes, there are some complaints, minor quibbles I have as far as specific games that could have been added to the online stuff. It would have been nice to have a little, you know, color feature for the Game Boy games, but it's easy to look beyond that. It's all just down to personal preference. And I mean, let's be realistic. The black and white probably looks the best overall anyways when it comes to playing the old Game Boy games, especially the games that were not available for the Game Boy Color or had utilization with the Super Game Boy. Why am I fighting bats in a Ninja Turtles game? I've never played Radical Rescue before, but now I'm going to because of this compilation. So these are my thoughts on the Ninja Turtles Cowabunga Collection. This shouldn't really come as a huge surprise to you that I loved it, but they could have, you know, they could have botched it, you know. How do I even get, oh, you got to do a little thing there. Oh, I'm learning, boys and girls, I'm learning. But let me know in the comments section down below if this is a compilation you plan on picking up, because I highly recommend it. Especially if you're a fan of the Ninja Turtles, there's just so much cool stuff here to relive and even discover for the first time with some of these games. And of course, all the additional stuff. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If this is indeed your first time here, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share. Hit the bell notification as well. And Cowabunga, dudes!